Hi, I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications, and we are filming Why Like Ike, and we have Ike's favorite hobby today, which is golf. Well, I don't know if it's his favorite. Fishing, golf, probably equal.
Painting.
Okay, and we have William Snyder down there, and we have Tim Reeves in the middle, the middleman.
That's right.
How's the middleman today?
Hey, I am fine. This is my second round
It is.
of Why Like Ike today.
This is a terrific opportunity to carry on. And I see William has dug out some very cool stuff. It never amazes me what comes out of the vault to appear on our table.
Yes, we have lots of fun stuff, and this is just a small sampling of some golf souvenirs from Ike's favorite hobby.
And behind us, we have a picture of the president and a grandson.
Correct.
I'm guessing.
That's
okay.
Right. David.
And in front of William, we have the only golf ball that says Mr. President.
That's right. We do have several that say General Ike on them, complete with 5 stars, but we only have one in the collection that says Mr. President on it.
I prefer to think that's because all the rest of them are in the hole.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not in the water hazard.
Not in the trees. So, you know, we have a lot of serious topics we've gathered here to talk about in the Why Like Ike series. And over the years, as we've brought the Eagle cameras here to do other things, we've always focused on the more serious side of Dwight David Eisenhower, both as a general and as a president of the United States of America. But Ike was a man who needed a hobby as well, as the rest of us do, and golf was one of the things that he really enjoyed.
He really did, and he took it up as a student at the Command and General Staff College at Leavenworth, 1925, 1926. Ike was a very good athlete. He had been a star at Abilene High School, football and baseball, was off to a good start at West Point playing football before he injured his knee, but loved competition, loved sports, and so with golf he found out something he could take up and play the rest of his life. He continued, he went to the Philippines in the 1930s, was able to play a lot of golf, and then even during World War II when he had a chance, you know, he could pick up the club and at least take a few practice swings. And enthusiastic golfer, they said he bought every new gadget that ever came out. He would write professionals such as Bobby Jones and his friend Arnold Palmer, you know, for advice on his swing. And so it was a hobby in the best sense of that he did take it seriously, but it was for fun. But it was an important outlet for him as president, just to relieve pressure. And there was actually a lot of criticism when he was president that he spent too much time on the golf course. His opponents would try to use that against him. And as a matter of fact, he did play 800 rounds during his 8 years in the White House. But he needed the exercise in addition, you know, to the stress release. He had heart problems.
Sure.
And now I think everyone accepts it's normal for a president to spend part of his day in the gym. And most presidents have played golf. President Obama goes on golfing vacations. And Ike really did popularize it as a presidential game, but also just in general. Golf lessons increased in the 1950s, equipment sales increased, memberships in golf clubs increased, and so when you had such a prominent figure taking up golf and taking it up so enthusiastically, it really did have a big effect on the country.
It was just an economic development concept by the Eisenhowers, right?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. You know, I am half serious about that because I've said it on camera more than once, and there's nothing about economic development that has to be not fun. Fun can be a part of growing a community, and we're so blessed in Abilene to be the home of Dwight David Eisenhower, and Leavenworth is in Kansas where he learned to play golf. And we're sitting here with some of the benefits of his legacy in front of us in a fantastic facility that shows the life of Dwight David Eisenhower every day.
And you know, his political opponents tried to use it against him, but Ike also used golf politically in that he wanted to project this reassuring image that everything is in such great shape that the president has time to relax and play some golf. And also, after his heart attack in 1955, he intentionally, after he recovered, played a round in public and played 18 holes just to demonstrate his good health. Yeah. And so I could use it for public relations as well.
I noticed this little short club here, and we looked at it before the camera started, and it was given to him by Bobby Jones, right, William?
Yes, it was.
And Bobby Jones, famous player, and I'm looking at the grip on it. I don't think it was used a lot. So it could have been a joke. It could have been maybe made for the grandson or something, but still,
Well, there are a few scratches on it, so it may have been used, and what little bit of information we have about it, it's supposedly for use if you're stuck in the rough or behind a tree on the fairway. So you can lean over and take a short swing, but still have the weight of a wood on it.
This is a joke. Maybe it was the club he loaned Mr. Nixon.
Just for the photo opportunity?
Exactly.
That would be a good practical joke.
Right.
Okay.
But it does have his signature and 5 stars engraved in the brass plate on the bottom.
And,
so
signatures and 5 stars. That's pretty cool. Yep. That's pretty cool. You know, I thought about this today, and I remember talking to Carl Weisenbach one time years ago about what we were going to do here on this campus, and there were some ideas about a golf tournament or something, you know, as a fundraiser for the foundation, and boy, I just kind of stepped back and I said, gosh, maybe that'd be a great idea someday, but that cannot be the first thing we say about Dwight David Eisenhower in Abilene. So.
There's still that lingering thought that
lingering stigma
he spent too much time on the golf course. But
today we're going to celebrate it.
That's right.
Because he was a wise man. He knew he had to get outside. He knew he had to keep moving. He knew he had to keep his mind healthy. One of the greatest minds that's ever been applied to the problem of peace and prosperity in the United States.
Right.
And of course, golf's a nice symbol of that too.
It is.
Sort of peace and prosperity.
You have to have your game organized. I'm a terrible golfer, by the way. The patience factor, I leave on hole number 1.
Well, that was not Ike's strong suit, the patience part.
Okay.
He played very quickly, and they said he would practically run into his putts across the green.
You're comforting me now.
Yeah. But he did enjoy the game, and of course he had a 3-part, a little course built at Camp David, the presidential retreats. I think I understand they had 1 green and then 3 short approaches to it.
Okay.
And then the United States Golf Association installed a large putting green at the White House. And he used that. Most afternoons he would go out to work on his short game. But at one time at the putting green, the White House squirrels were disturbing the green. And Ike actually wanted the Secret Service to shoot them. And Jim Haggerty, his press secretary, decided that would be bad PR. And so they came in at night and they trapped the squirrels and they released them in Rock Creek Park in Washington. And no longer disturbed Ike's
coming from the guy who has to maintain service lines hanging in the air in Abilene, Kansas, I wished he'd have shot him.
And there was even former presidents liked seeing Ike's cleat marks that he left in the floor at the White House. And I believe we have a piece of the floor here in the museum.
We do, but it is in an incredibly huge case. Actually, when the Nixons renovated some sections of the White House, they actually saved the cleat marks in the floor and put it in a big, huge presentation case and sent it to Ike.
It's amazing to me that, so we're sitting here in front of a table full of golf stuff, okay?
Well, speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and a box.
And a box.
And a little trophy stand. But if you look at every one of these things, it's a statement of a point in time in history. That's the 80th millionth bulb that Sylvania produced in Alabama or something like that.
Billionth flashbulb, back when we had to have flashbulbs for cameras, and was produced in Pennsylvania during Eisenhower's administration.
Everybody that remembers flashbulbs and cameras, raise their hand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay.
But they, created a little, the flashbulb is now a golf ball, and this great caricature of Ike, and sent it off to the president.
I think he looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Maybe not the best character. Okay,
it's a character. So we have Santa Fe Railroad gave him a gift of golf balls in a box.
Absolutely. So the little plaque on it says to Dwight D. Eisenhower with carloads of best wishes, carloads, for clear skies and low scores, and it was a very fancy wooden box to hold golf balls.
Very cool. Presidents attract lots of things. We just left the research room a little bit ago, and where there are trainloads of documents that presidents attract and things. But, tying golf to a statement of economic development again, it's a passion for me. You have to forgive me. But that says Bob Hope Desert Classic. There's like 3 or 4 different years of pins.
Yes.
Bob Hope Desert Classic transformed that section of Arizona into a destination.
It certainly did.
One of the foundational, probably economic events that focused people's attention. Man, that'd be a great place to go retire and play golf. And Bob Hope and President Eisenhower were good friends in that
And golfing partners.
And golfing partners. And as a matter of fact, this putter that I have right here is engraved on the back. It was a Christmas present from Bob Hope to President Eisenhower.
Okay. You know, I think about all of the struggles that Dwight David Eisenhower lived through in World War II and the decisions he made as president. I find golf to be a frustrating game, but I'm not trying to save the free world. How relaxing it must have been for him to be able to step away, because you can't play golf and not focus on it.
Right.
And so, you know, moving your focus from the day-to-day duties as a president to a little white ball would be a great relaxation technique, a shift of focus to allow your mind to clear.
He needed it, and on some vacations he would go and for 2 weeks play 36 holes of golf a day. So he really was able to relax his mind, and much like his painting, you know, he could completely escape the pressures of the office and concentrate completely on that task. And so it really did have a rejuvenating effect. You mentioned the D-Day invasion and all these great accomplishments of Ike's life from World War II to 2 terms as president. But in 1968, we have a card for the Hole-in-One Association. At age 77, Ike hit the only hole-in-one of his career, and he called it his lifetime achievement. So that puts everything else in perspective.
That's right.
But yeah, at that stage,
104 yards at the 13th
hole, and in Palm Springs,
California. So we have the little, you know, award for him, as well as the hole-in-one card.
So I just noticed something as I'm sitting here, and William's already getting nervous because he saw me reach for the white gloves. I don't know if I can gently turn this around, or we'll have to get a shot later, but I want to tell people what's on here. And William's going to tell us what it means, but it says B-52 General Ike on those balls, and there's some other things that I can't see. You probably know exactly what they are, but that's fairly significant, I would think.
It's actually an accident. Believe it or not, it's simply, they simply numbered the balls. Now, they may have been something, you know, the company that made them may have done that on purpose, but if they did, it was not told to Ike, or, you know, in any correspondence that got to us, unfortunately.
That was just a guy like me who thought, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I'm going to put B-52 on them.
Good for you, but no.
And that's outstanding. We have the grandson on the picture behind us.
That's right.
And I'm sure President Eisenhower had spent some time passing this on. It's part of the family legacy that everybody passes on to their kids something.
It is. In fact, well, we have a letter from Ike to his grandson David, and David's just informed him that he's going to go to Amherst to college. Okay. And Ike is also encouraging him to try out for the baseball team. And he says, well, if that doesn't work, then you should take up golf, which is the greatest game of all. And so that was his advice to his grandson.
Yeah, a disclaimer here. I had a training barn just down the road from Amherst College for a year and a half. It was the longest year and a half of my life, by the way. I lived through it. As I think about golf and think about Dwight David Eisenhower, and part of what you do at golf, and for me anyway, the enjoyment is the people you play with and the conversations you have. My wife and I use it as a getaway. We go out, just the two of us, and you know, we don't even keep score. We just go outside and have fun and talk and laugh.
Good thing to do.
But wouldn't it have been a gift to play golf with Dwight David Eisenhower?
Unless he was having a bad day, in which case he might throw a club at you. I think it was his doctor, Dr. Snyder, and Ike did make a poor shot, and Dr. Snyder made a mistake of saying, nice shot, and Eisenhower cursed at him and threw a club and hit him in the shin. So he did take it seriously. But again, taking a hobby seriously is part of what makes it so beneficial. You know, you mentioned, Dennis, or we mentioned Augusta, where Ike played so much, and I'm just looking at the photograph here, which brought this to mind. This is the famous Mamie cabin at Augusta, where Ike would often stay, you know, they'd go there for a couple of weeks at a time. There was also a famous tree which vexed Eisenhower when he would play golf at Augusta, and he was on the board of governors for the club, and he actually introduced a motion one year to have that tree cut down.
Like those squirrels.
And he was voted down, but finally in 2013, Mother Nature took care of the tree, and the club was nice enough to send us a portion of that tree, which is now on display.
I've seen it.
Special case in our library lobbies.
I have to think that General Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, rejoiced in heaven when the tree went down.
I imagine so. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're thrilled to have a slice of it here.
What else do you have in the stack?
Well, speaking of Augusta, I will mention a letter that I have a copy of.
Okay.
And it's from a gentleman named Willie Poteet, who was Ike's caddy most of the time that he was at Gettysburg. Ike did not call him Willie, he called him Cemetery, and some of Mr. Poteet's friends called him Dead Man. But the story was that he was once in a knife fight and was in such poor shape that he woke up actually on the table at the county morgue. They thought he was dead, but he came back to life, and so he earned this nickname of Cemetery. We have this really touching letter that Willie wrote to Mrs. Eisenhower after the president passed away, and he talks about how Ike always called him Cemetery and what a great time they had playing at Augusta. But eventually he could no longer keep up with Ike on the golf course and had to retire. But he was one of Ike's many friends down in the Augusta, Georgia area. Other photographs, let's see, here's another one of Ike. This is, I believe, William at the 10th hole at Augusta, wearing his green jacket, which I don't think we've talked about yet.
Right behind us.
Famous green jacket that I guess all members of the Masters Club wear. The winner of the tournament is entitled to wear, and here it is in color on New Year's Eve, 1959, and we believe this picture was taken in their cabin at Augusta. So it really was an important place in Ike's life, and again, spent a lot of vacations there. They had kind of a mini White House set up at Augusta for him, as presidents do when they travel.
Well, I learned something every time I sit down with you fellas, and today, first of all, I didn't know you had a green jacket. I didn't know you send it to Augusta.
That's right. They have recently built a museum onto the clubhouse, and so every year we send Ike's jacket down to them. They have a display case just for Ike's green jacket, so we're honored that we get to participate in the Masters that way.
And probably while this is airing, then we're pretty close to Masters time.
First week in April.
Okay.
That was one of his favorite courses, Burning Tree in Washington, D.C., where a lot of politicians play, and other presidents have played. And Cherry Hills in Denver had been one of his favorites until his heart attack, and then he could no longer play at that altitude.
Okay.
And then, of course, many courses in Southern California where he's spent a lot of his retirement years, and where he hit his hole-in-one. So very, very dear to his heart. Something else we have on display that William brought out are Ike's his rule book.
I don't
obviously very well thumbed copy of golf's rules. So he, again, taking that hobby seriously, I'm sure he would pull it out and quote chapter and verse to someone if they had a dispute over one one of the rules.
And coincidentally, it's from his first. It's from the same year that he got his green jacket.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
From 1948.
Yeah, I just can't take golf that seriously. I just choose not to. So. Our rule book is quite thinner and not very well used either. Okay. Tim, I always ask something like this. So, you sit here, you do the work at this institution every day. Some days Eisenhower has to be old hat, so because it's just what you do every day. But
you would think so, but then I can come over here to the museum side and see things I've never seen, because we have something on the order of 70,000 artifacts, which I could never see in my lifetime. And of course the 26 million documents, which I'll never see all of them in my lifetime. So there are surprises every day, and I do learn new things about Dwight Eisenhower every day, even though I'm here full time.
William, for you?
Well, let's be specific for this episode. I'm going to have to bring this out. We have this wonderful little golf ball that I had not seen before until we started looking for golf objects, but just in case you get thirsty while you're on the golf course, there are actually 4 little shot glasses inside the golf ball. So with your foursome, you can have a nice drink of
shot glass
water while you're on the golf course.
Yeah, not quite enough to get you thirst quenched with water, but there's several other things that would work well with. So that's pretty cool.
So, and again, we run across things like that all the time.
You think that's a gift from the Russian premier, the nesting?
Oh, right, the little, yes. Well, again, we mentioned how Ike loved Ike gadgets, or golf gadgets rather.
Okay. This is certainly a gadget.
And he was always using experimental clubs, experimental balls. He had this device that had been developed by a NASA physicist that analyzed his swing. He would practice that in the White House. And
I think that's one of the addictive portions of golf is the gadgets that go along with it.
Oh, yeah, there's no end to it. So,
Okay, we've got probably a minute and a half left. I guess as we prepare to end, I just always is struck by when you see a picture of Dwight David Eisenhower. He looks pleased, he looks confident, and he looks like he belongs in the photo. He's a unique man in that regard. And the things you see behind us, I think several of them show that. And frankly, one of them shows the contrast between a man who's comfortable and a man who's not. But Dwight David Eisenhower, a unique individual who was comfortable in any place with anybody at any time.
Yes, he could project both that congeniality and that confidence and that strength that which made him so appealing as a general and a political figure.
And our beloved Dwight David Eisenhower, why like Ike? Right there, look at that smile.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a great picture.
Folks, we know you've enjoyed seeing a little bit more about Dwight David Eisenhower in this Why Like Ike program. I have certainly enjoyed it, learned a lot about Eisenhower and golf that I did not know. We invite you here to the museum to come look, see, talk to people, and we know your life will be enriched by your interaction with Dwight David Eisenhower. For Eagle Communications, I'm Dennis Weiss, William Snyder, Tim Reeves. Thank you. Have a great day.